George, Richard, it's so good to see you here, and what a thrill to have the two of you and the rest of your cast in 12 Angry Men on stage here at the Majestic Theater. Whoopee, what a great day. What a great time.
We had a good night last night. It was fun, great fun.
Yes, and I will later work in all the data about the performances and all, so relax. You don't have to remember that.
Right.
I'll take care of that. But of course, I go back to the teleplay and to the original movie. And it's always been one of my favorite plays and favorite movies of all time, just a classic piece of drama and theater. But here we are, 12 angry men, 12 men in a juror's room trying to come to some decision. Is he guilty or isn't he? Do we send him to the chair or do we set him free? Have either of you ever served on a jury?
Nope.
I tried to and was rejected.
I understand that because they've called me up different times, and when they find out you're in the media.
But that's not why you. That's not why
No,
they
they rejected me. They asked me in the voir dire part of the process. The lawyers asked if I considered myself a sympathetic person, and I said yes, and they said bye.
Bye. Yeah, we want only unsympathetic people on our jury, kind of like us.
Actually, I pitched that. I said, I don't see what the problem is. I think, I'll be balanced. There's likely to be somebody who's very unsympathetic. I'm very sympathetic.
Right.
Good balance.
And
but no,
that didn't fly. I've never done it. I always managed to be out of town working or something when the envelope came. But now that I'm living back in New York, I don't think I'm gonna. They get you. And now I'm kind of interested, having done the show.
Well,
once they find out what part I played in this show, they'll never let me on a jury. No one will ever let me be on a jury.
That was going to be my next question, is now that you're living with this for many months, 8 months on the road, what kind of a juror would you be this time?
Gosh, it feels like we're on OJ or something,
I know.
Because we're on a jury for
forever, for months and months and months. I hope I'd be somebody like my guy, but I tell you, that feeling of raising your hand, being the only one to raise your hand, I'm just acting it, and I a couple of times thought, I don't know if I'd have the guts to do that. I mean, I guess in the moment, from what we've read about jurors, that people really do have they do voice their opinion and they stick to their guns, but I don't know if I could do it.
There's been no attempt to try to update this. I mean,
No.
is it exactly the same script it was originally?
I think
It's very, very close to
really,
the 1957 feature
close
film.
to the film, almost exactly
Just
the same.
a few more probably four-letter words and things like that.
Yeah, I think Reginald Rose just brought the language a little bit not up to date. It's all still right within the period, but allowed it to be a little bit more raw, as it would have been, of course. It's, I think, almost exactly the same as the film. I think there were very, very few changes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they did do an updated version in '64, I believe it was, where they had a multiracial cast.
Yeah.
In other words, were there some blacks and Hispanics?
I didn't see it.
So you don't know anything about that?
I know Showtime did one in '97 that
Yeah.
was with a diverse cast and a female judge played by the wife of juror number 3 in our company,
That's right. That's right, Randy.
Mary McDonald.
And how was that received?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't know how it went
I didn't
down.
see it
But
either.
I can't imagine.
Jack Lemmon and Danny Glover and a bunch of people.
I think one of the things that's, the play is about the issue of guilt and innocence and reasonable doubt, but the play is also about 12 white, middle-aged men in a room. That is just as much a part of the drama as the subject matter. And if you change the configuration of the jury, and if you make it ethnically diverse and diverse in gender, you basically have to write a new play, because these guys these guys speak the way these men spoke in the 50s. And so what's the point? Just write a new play about a jury, just write a new jury trial, because a new jury play, because it's very specific to the period, specific to the gender, and specific to the ethnicity, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I would be remiss, and all your fans would hate me if I didn't at least address the issue of Norm and Cheers for you, George. Is that an albatross around your neck?
You know, it's not really an albatross. It's there. It's more of a life preserver
Yeah, I was
than
going to
an
say.
albatross. It's
Free beers.
That's what I was wondering. When you go into a bar, what happens?
well, you know, usually I skulk in, you know, and so nothing happens, you know. But occasionally, like somebody will see me walking, you know, through the window. They'll notice me or something, and then I'll get the big old Norm thing.
So
But I do get a lot of free beers, which is one of the great perks.
does any day ever pass that somebody doesn't mention Norm?
No. I mean, probably, but
I doubt it.
not walking around, you know, in the general public.
At home, if you just spend the day at home, maybe.
And for you, Richard,
Same thing.
John Boy.
Same thing. Not a day goes by. But I love it that you call it a life preserver because that's what it is. It's great.
Yeah.
It's terrific. You know, I left the Waltons in 1976. Okay.
Wow.
I'm not. People say, does it bother you, or do you still people still recognize you from that show, or that I'm astonished that 32 years later, it's as binding an identification as it is. There's something incredible about it. I mean, the lifespan of that. I'm constantly amazed that people haven't just forgotten about it and moved on to something else.
Once production ceases is one thing, but it's never not been on television.
Right,
so
exactly. It's still on every day, and
the same with Cheers. So
Yeah.
it's really kind of
DVDs now. People are buying them and playing them for their kids and stuff. But it's a very tenacious thing. Fortunately, they were good shows. You know, I mean, I can think of a few things that we wouldn't be so happy to be dragging around with us, but Cheers and the Waltons were really good. So,
As far as the Waltons are concerned, when you look back on it, at the time, were you thoroughly enjoying it, or was it just a job, or what?
no, it was very clear the whole time that we were in a really privileged situation. I mean, we had a huge hit. We had good writing. We had interesting characters to play. We got along as a cast. I mean, every series on a day-to-day basis for 9 months out of the year. Remember, we would shoot 26 shows, and with a standing cast, you know, it has its life. It has its good. You have your good days and your bad days, and it's amazing how quickly a 25-year-old can take something so extraordinary for granted. Can learn to just kind of, you know. I was 21 when I started, and by the time I was 24, it was like, oh yeah, okay, well, let's see, when do I come in today? And I'm thinking, oh my God, how could you have gotten so blasé about something that's so amazing? But actually, you always know that you're in a special position because you know that one day it will go away and it'll change, you know, from season to season.
For both of you, I'm curious to know what is the most unusual encounter of a fan, you know, maybe in a foreign country or something. Does anything come to mind?
Have you ever had to autograph body parts?
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
You know, I can't really. I don't. There have been, no doubt. You know, I just haven't dusted off that corner of my brain.
I had a guy outside of Woolworths in Santa Fe say to me, weren't you on the Waltons on that show, John Boy on that show? I said, yes. He said, you were on that show, weren't you? And I said, yeah, I was. He said, man, I hated that show. He said, my wife loved that show. Every time she turned it on, I left the house. So I don't know if you would call that an encounter with a fan, but it was kind of took my breath away.
Yeah, I remember when celebrities were jumping to compliment me, it was like, whoa, that was really weird. Like Cheers had been on the air only a few months, and I ran into Carol Burnett at a function, and I was like awestruck, and she just came up and just smothered me with like, you are my idol, I love you, you're so fantastic. I'm like, whoa, Jesus.
How did that happen? Yeah. That's great. The paradigm shifts completely.
Excuse me. Again, I thank you both for your time today, for getting up early the day after opening. And I am so delighted to tell you again that I cannot remember, and I've been reviewing plays and musicals and film for many years, I cannot remember when I have seen a cast of 12 people on stage or on film at one time when everybody has been top drawer, 5-star. I mean,
Thank you. It's a great company. It's a
Yeah.
great bunch of guys. And this is a
Blast.
kind of show where everybody has to come to bat. Everybody has to get in the plate, you know, and it's great.
well, I'm sure all of them are equally inspired by what the two of you bring to it as well.
It goes all the way through the company every night. We all do it for each other, you know. It's very exciting.
Well, thank you again very, very much.
Thank you.
Now, if you'll just stay, he's got to move the jury now. What kind of, oh, okay. If you were to serve on a jury now, what kind of juror would you be?
You'd be sensitive.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I would hope not to be the foreman. That's for sure.
They have to control everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be probably a pushover.
Has there been any attempt to make changes in the script, or is it pretty much what it was originally?
Well, it's not so much the script we change. We do play musical chairs at the beginning of the show. We walk around the table, and when the music stops, we sit. And we play whatever.
chair we sit in.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
the part we play that. Right.
I love that. Okay. I
I wonder how
love
far
that.
we'd actually get.
We could have done that with the organ in Atlanta.
Okay, all right. Is Norm something, how did I say that?
An albatross,
Is-
you said.
Yeah. that- Is Norm from Cheers like an albatross around your neck?
An albatross at wing, flying away, carrying me into the stratosphere. Less of a millstone around my neck, more of a life preserver.
When you go into a bar now, what is it like? What happens?
Well, lots of free beer, and occasionally, if someone has prior notice, there'll be a chorus of shouting Norm, and if it's a piano bar, God forbid, do 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 do. You just go, disappear. Can I disappear?
Does ever a day go by that somebody doesn't does ever a day go by that someone does not mention John Boy?
Only on those days when I don't get out of the house.
Your family doesn't do it?
No. No. That's one of my rules. One of the rules I get to enforce in the household.
Did you enjoy John Boy, or did you just, after a while, get tired of the whole thing?
No, I loved it. It wasn't tiresome because one of the reasons it wasn't tiresome was that the part, you're growing up, so you go through different stages as a character. So we weren't static. We were, especially the kids, we were all, every year we were a year older, going through another year of school. I mean, I remember the season I got long pants, and got out of my knickers and got into long pants. It was a big deal.
And then I got right back into short pants. There you go.
Okay, that should do it.
Great,
That
thank you.
should do it. Thank you both very much.